Welcome back, friends, to Show Your Real Estate Today on your Saturday afternoon. Howdy, howdy. Glad you're with us. I'm Paul Jameson, your host, owner of the Jameson Real Estate Companies. That's Jameson Realty, Jameson Property Management, Jameson Property Investments. You know, it's so funny. Every time I do this, I go, I know they know where I work. And somebody's like, well, gosh, you just keep saying Jameson all the time. Well, yeah, you know, I'm very proud of the fact that I put my name on these companies, and that means a lot to me. So just like you, Trez, I mean, your name's on your business, and that means a lot. That says you're putting yourself on the line. So I'm sorry I do get laughs. You know, people go, there he is, Paul Jameson from the Jameson family of companies. And I just like, oh man, okay. Well, for those that want to laugh at me, I'm okay with it. I laugh at myself. But welcome back, friend. Glad to see you, and congratulations again on your family. And looks like from Facebook you're having a ball.
Yeah, she's great. We were having so much fun with her.
That's wonderful, man. That's great. Very good. I want to start out our conversation with something that I do as a practice, whether I'm looking at purchasing a piece of property that's not on the market, whether I'm looking at purchasing any piece of property, and I emphasize any piece of property, is the title search. You know, it is truly the one place where you and I can mitigate a lot of issues, problems, a whole lot of stuff up front. Yeah. Isn't that right? I mean, what is so in your mind? Why in your world, why is it so important?
Yeah. So thanks for asking, man. A common misconception for us closing attorneys are, you know, your clients just show up and think that we just we get the paper signed, but there's a lot more that goes into it. Closing attorney has two primary roles: to act as a settlement agent, meaning to disperse the funds from closing, and to act as a title attorney. So that's where your title search comes in. Title search is just an examination of the public record for a parcel of land. This includes the chain of title, deed search, the history of who all own the property, plat maps, taxes, restrictions, access to public rights-of-ways, mortgages, liens, bankruptcies, foreclosures, estates, etc. So typically title search goes back 30 years unless we can tack to a prior policy. So it's a complicated question, Paul, but basically title search is a examination to determine who purchased, when a buyer purchased a property or a lender lends on the property, they're protected and their interests are secured.
Right. So as a layer, you know, we're always all about these days, you know, doing what we can do to protect that buyer related to anything that has happened in the past, which is why you go back 30 years and or however far you can if you're not bootstrapping on another search. But there's such a thing as title insurance. On top of that, research. So just in case there's a foo-foo somewhere, you got this title insurance. And then I, as a business practice, on all of my closings, automatically go with enhanced title insurance. I really want you to expand on that because there is a difference.
Yep.
And they have a different purpose, right?
Yep. So, you know, just your standard title insurance policy, as well as your enhanced title insurance policy, is meant to protect home buyers and mortgage lenders from damages or financial losses due to bad title or title defects. You know, most of your title insurance policies cover all common claims filed against title, including outstanding liens, back taxes, conflicting wills, conflicting ownership. But if you don't get title insurance, your home could cost you more than the purchase price and unforeseen complications. So, kind of an example is, while us attorneys can examine the public record, we're unable to determine if something was done fraudulently. For example, a disgruntled spouse may have forged their partner's name on the deed. So while we see on the public record, 2 people signed it, the deed was signed in front of a notary, it was recorded, it'd be nearly impossible to determine whether or not someone signed a document and it was forged or whether it was under duress. And then just to kind of talk a little bit about the differences in standard and enhanced, the easiest way to kind of talk about that is your standard insurance, title insurance policy kind of protects you from events in the past leading up to closing. The enhanced title insurance policy is kind of more of what you would think about with insurance. When you get most insurance policies that you get these days, it's going to protect you for things that may occur in the future. That's kind of what your enhanced title insurance policies go into, events that may happen in the future. Right? For example, your neighbor builds a wall or a fence on your property after you close. Your standard insurance policy wouldn't protect you, but enhanced would.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like about that enhanced policy is that going forward piece of it. We don't drive backwards, we drive forwards, right? So
Yeah.
it's and the cost difference for our listeners, just to kind of share that with them, it's minimal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I mean, like a couple $100 minimum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's kind of like a no-brainer, right? It's just like, and you only pay the premium once.
That's right. Yep, just a one-time fee.
All right, this is a dumb question, so you can use an estimate on that. But let's say the previous seller, you can figure out where their title insurance came from, and you can bootstrap a new policy kind of on top of the old one.
Mm-hmm.
What does it save? $100 or so?
Depending on how recent the policy was, the amount the coverage was for, it could save hundreds of dollars. I mean, it could
Ooh.
potentially save 40%. I'm speculating.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll buy some sausage. That's good. I'm liking it. Or, excuse me, in TJ's case, barbecue. Pardon me.
Barbecue
I-
sausage.
I barbecue sausage. All right. I misspoke. I'm so terrible. All right. All right. So we've talked about kind of the foundation of the transaction being that title search and that, but there's also what we call in the business the spoilers, right? There are always people in a transaction, not every day, but there's always, you end up with one at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. There's what we call the spoiler.
Mhm.
It gets down into it and goes, in that contract, that thing wasn't done, wasn't handled, wasn't finished, or we spoke about this and it wasn't done, or and we call them the spoilers. What, in your view, would you classify? Well, wait a minute, hold on 1 second. We've got to go to break in about 15 seconds. So we want to take this up in the next segment. But you have experienced some spoilers, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk about spoilers on the show Your Real Estate Today with Trezze, Stokes, with Norwin Armstrong and Stokes, myself, Paul Jameson, here on your radio, News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT.